Tasteful. I am your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified. This is Mr. Mark Radulich, and you are listening to the Metal Hammer of Doom, the Internet's premier album review podcast. I meant every single word of that. Of course, joining me tonight is my co-host, keeping me up late, making me miss episode 2 of season 3's Orange is the New Black, Mr. Robert Cooper, the man who started the Hammer of Doom news report. How you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I'm sorry I'm making you miss your female prison drama. Don't worry. It's on Netflix. I think you'll be able to go back to it.
Let's get through this podcast already. Ready? Let's first track. Let's go. Actually, before we get into this, I wanted to bring you on, but a couple of sad announcements. One, 93 years old, he released a metal album. He played all of our favorite characters in many different movies. We honored him on Everyone Loves the Bad Guy a couple of months back. Christopher Lee has passed away, and we here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network send our condolences to the family, to those that have survived him. 93 years old. He lived a life. And he went out on his own terms, and God bless him for it. So wanted to say that. Also, Dusty Rhodes, unfortunately, has also passed away. He lived a life, too, but didn't quite live as long as Christopher Lee. He died at 69. And, of course, we send our condolences out to the Rhodes family. In honor of Dusty Rhodes, I ate an all-American thick burger from Hardee's tonight, which is a cheeseburger with a hot dog with potato chips on it. So I, too, will probably die at 69 or 49 at the rate I'm going. But before we get into tonight's album, Coop, you got anything on any words there on Christopher Lee or Dusty Rhodes, if you will?
Well, I wish Pat were here to do his Dusty Rhodes impersonation. That'd be nice.
They're actually recording a podcast now, so I'm sure on Casual Hero momentarily you'll be able to or whenever the hell Chris puts it up, which will probably be next week. After the news is already stale. Yeah. Someday you'll be able to hear Pat and Gavin remembering Dusty Rhodes. But you were saying?
Well, first off, I'll start with Christopher Lee because he was the one I found out about first. Honestly, he wasn't as much a part of my life as Dusty Rhodes was for as long. I just got into the Hammer horror films only a few years ago, but I found his interpretation of Dracula to be absolutely wonderful. It was really charming, but it was also really menacing and terrifying. He was a great actor. I know he was in a Bond movie. He was Count Dooku, that poor unfortunate man, was in the prequels. But I think he did a really good job with what he had. But what I love him the most for is being older than my great-grandparents and fucking making metal albums. That's awesome. In a world where, like, my parents are, like, 40, not even 45, 50, yeah. About 50 and bitching about metal. He's like, fuck yeah, dude, I'm 90. I don't give a shit. I'll make metal. And he did. He made metal. He killed Nazis. He was a spy. He spoke 5 languages. And he had a wonderful singing voice. There you go. Like, if I could be reincarnated in terms of awesomeness as one person, I want to be Christopher Lee. Like, we make Chuck Norris jokes all day, but Christopher Lee's where it's at. And,
like I said, he lived life. I mean, we're not at a point where we can download our consciousness into robots. That's yet to come. So for us mere mortals, you can't hope to have a better life than someone like Christopher Lee. He lived life to the fullest. He did, I think, what you're supposed to do with your life. So may he rest in peace, and I hope he's in a better place than he has been. Because at 93 years old, God only knows what he though he looked fairly spry in the Hobbit movies, running around hitting ghosts and shit.
Yeah, and falling from incredibly high places and impaling himself on spikes in the Lord of the Rings movies. Yeah,
that was some years ago.
Yeah, that was a little while ago. But yeah, and Dusty, man, that hit me hard. It did. I mean, I wasn't like, emotional wreck and inconsolable, but I was like, even though I've never been one to go and watch old I don't watch many old NWA matches, so I'm going to go watch something from, like, the 90s. It'll be the Attitude Era or, like, All Japan. It'll be something that I haven't seen before or really had no clue of seeing. And like I said, I haven't seen a whole ton of his matches compared to a lot of other wrestlers who have passed away over the years. But as a personality and as somebody who gave promos and gave us, well, two really good wrestlers for the next generation, you know, his sons, like, it really made me sad that we lost him because, as I put on Facebook, like, Dusty Rhodes wasn't really a character. He was a guy, and he reached the levels of Superman. But at the same time, he still stayed like the everyman. It's just, like, you know, he managed to reach the heights by being himself and just kind of showing everybody that a plumber's son can and will rise to the top if they work hard enough. And
he was called the American Dream, and his story really embodies it. The American Dream is that that America is ripe with opportunity, and what that means is that there isn't a lot of government and red tape in your way. If you have the means and the willpower to do so, you can become a success in this country, whatever that may be. You know, whether it's you go to school and you study hard and you take the test and you become a lawyer and as a lawyer you make money, or a doctor, or you go to school and you become an engineer and you invent something. You know, there was once a guy who put together a computer made of wood in his garage, and that guy went on to become the CEO of Apple Computers. You know, so that's the American dream, is to come from nothing, pick yourself up by your own bootstraps, and become a huge financial success. And that's what Dusty Rhodes did. You know, he was the quote unquote son of a plumber, and he took his personality and perseverance, and he turned himself into an iconic wrestling character, and that wrestling character had phenomenal success. And he died doing what he loved, having reached the pinnacle and going off into retirement, helping young wrestlers carry the business forward, including his two sons. So you can't get any better than that. So I have my own memories of Dusty Rhodes. I wish I could sit here and say I have fond memories of his NWA runs and Florida Championship Wrestling and and his feud with Ric Flair, but I honestly only know that because I recently watched the Dusty Rhodes documentary on the WWE Network. My first memories of Dusty Rhodes are as this half-retarded looking fat guy wearing polka dots carrying out some black broad who looked like my friend's mother from elementary school. Okay, that was it. That's what I knew Dusty Rhodes as. I didn't know why he was.
My first Dusty Rhodes memory was from Botchamania with "He's got a bicycle. He's got a bicycle." Oh, where did he get the bicycle? Have you ever seen that before?
I've heard Steve on the show formerly known as Business as Usual on the Zonka Podcasting Network. You should do that all the time. I had no idea what he was talking about. Like I said, I'm not as familiar with Dusty Rhodes, so this one's not quite the heartbreak. I mean, when the Warrior died, I was inconsolable. I mean, my wife, had to make sure I didn't need to be Baker acted. I cried for days about that one. When Owen Hart died, I was inconsolable. Dusty Rhodes, I'm sad, but I'm not Pat and Gavin.
Yeah.
Quite.
I'm trying to think of. I think the only ones I was super sad about was old Benoit, and I got over that real quick. And I think maybe. I don't know. That was really cold, but like with Benoit, it was Benoit. I was like, oh no, it's like, oh, I loved watching him wrestle. He was so good. Oh no, and then I found out what he did, and I'm like, oh shit. I better pack up the tear bag real quick. And then when we saw it, I was really because
the whole Benoit kind of like stepping in poop. You're like, oh no, what am I? I'll just throw the shoes away.
Let's burn them. Let's make sure nobody ever mentions shoes again.
Yeah. All right. So that's not what we're here to do tonight. This is not a wrestling podcast. We are here to talk about metal and review a metal album. And so it was Rob's pick this week. And I apologize for missing the last show where we talked about Faith No More. I unfortunately was violently ill. from Monday into Tuesday, I vomited twice, and I was in no shape to do a podcast by Tuesday night. So, which was also my birthday. I had every intention of doing it, but I could barely talk after after having a stomach virus. So I apologize for that, but we are here again this week, and it's Robert's pick, and he picked Unleashed's new album, Dawn of the Nine. So I'm a big fan of Unleashed. They're one of the few death metal bands that I really, really enjoy. I mean, I like death metal, but death metal is kind of like listening to classical music. It's nice ambient noise in the background, but not something I necessarily seek out, for a mixtape because it's 1989. For a mix to like work out or anything too. But Unleashed is one of the few that does stand apart from the pack. They are from Sweden, so that helps. Why in particular, of all the bands we could have reviewed albums for in the month of June or May or April, why did you pick Unleashed?
Really, it was one of the few bands that I looked at, and I was like, it really grabbed me and said, I want an excuse to talk about this band and this album. The only other band that was really applicable was actually the other band I asked later. I was like, would you want to review Civil War? Because, remember, we've done Civil War before. And I always feel like when we do albums that have a lot of historical content in the lyrics, you can get a lot of mileage out of that. I remember when I did the Sabaton podcast with Robert Winfrey, we went on for a long time just talking about historical context and, where it fits in the song and what the song does with that historical context. And we might do Civil War some other day, but I think we made the right choice in doing Unleashed. Because Unleashed, as you said, they're one of the few, one of the few death metal bands that you can totally understand what they're saying. And that's very rare because I adore death metal, but that sometimes gets to be an issue on at least first listen. Actually, I got into Unleashed, if you don't mind me going into that. I got into Unleashed through Dan Haggerty's old mosh pit column on 411mania.com. That was a great column. I'm still sad it went and gone. But he was doing his best of for, all the years, and I just, like I told before, I downloaded one song off of each album he recommended and went from there. And I downloaded something off of Where No Life Dwells, and I think it was the opening track, Dead Forever, Where No Life Dwells, and I was hooked. I thought this band was awesome. They were really heavy. Their lyrics were really just kind of cool. I love their logo. I mean, hey, a logo can go a long way sometimes. Their logo was cool. Everything about them was just like, I want to listen to that. So I got more into their stuff. I got deeper into them, and then their last album, I want to say was it Odelheim? That album was tremendous. That only once got me more into them.
So I have a story about their logo and this band in particular. When I first moved to Florida, it was 2005, I actually moved to Miami first because, quick little backstory, my parents were moving. They were selling the house that I grew up in, and they were moving to Florida. So I'd already kind of lived around, in different places in the United States. I'd traveled by this point. I had finished grad school, and I had decided that wherever my parents were going to move to, I would at least move to the same state so that I could be close to them, especially around holiday times, but not necessarily had to be up their butt or anything. I just wanted to be in the vicinity. I had gone far and wide and realized that the holidays kind of suck when you don't have family around. So I figured, all right, I can live anywhere in the world. I'll go live wherever they're living. They were moving to Florida, so I said, I'll move to Florida. I started applying for jobs, and I got a job in Miami. So even though they were moving to Tampa, I moved to Miami first. And I didn't really know much about anything about Florida other than this is where Disney is. So I didn't think anything of it. I figured, Miami's a big, metropolitan area. I figured I could do well here, and they were certainly paying me a decent amount of money for the job I was doing. So what I was doing was in-home therapy with at-risk children, and these were like the worst of the worst. So that's why we got paid a lot of money to do it. So the job was, you could do anything with these kids. You could take them to play miniature golf. You could take them to the park. your job as an in-home therapist, your job was to work with the family and the kids, but you had the creativity and the freedom to do anything. I spent a 45-minute session just having races with this 9-year-old kid up and down the block. Okay, well, I would play Monopoly with kids, Life. We went to the mall and walked around. It was all considered therapy. Okay, so it was an awesome job.
Sure.
So I had this one family where the teenage boy, he was 14 or 15 years old, and he was constantly being hospitalized because his mom, it was a single mom situation. It was him and his sister and his little brother, and he was an angry kid, as you do. We were driving one day, and I happened to have Unleashed in the car. And and for whatever reason, I ended up having 2 copies of the same album, and he turns out really liked it. So I was like, here, have my second copy. It's fine. He's Mexican American, by the way. Okay? This is relative because this is also a very ardently Catholic family. And I'm dumb and don't realize what I'm doing. So
yes.
I give him the CD, and I don't ask for anything in return or anything. It wasn't anything like that. It was just like, hey, you like it here, and it it made us closer. He would share with me more. It actually helped in the therapeutic process. Well, his mother found it, and for those of you who don't know what the Unleashed logo looks like, in the middle of the word Unleashed is an upside down cross, and of course, an upside down cross denotes Satan, denotes the Antichrist, etc. Not the kind of thing you'd be into if you were Catholic. Now, he didn't care, and he liked the music all the same, and it gave us kind of something to talk about. He was kind of a hard kid to reach. But his mom, like I said, found the album, and when he told her, Mr. Mark gave it to me, it wouldn't be long before our therapy sessions would be over.
Aww.
Oh, yeah. His mother was not a fan of me. Even though I actually helped the situation, he calmed down a lot. I was actually, the work I was doing was semi-beneficial to the family. She was not a huge fan, and this was one of the straws that broke the camel's back. And when I tried to explain to her the good that it was, the therapeutic use, the good that it was doing, all she could focus on was it was Satan music, and she did not want me getting her son into Satan. And she didn't understand how somebody who was into Satan could be doing the job that I was doing. Never mind the effect that I was having. It came down to the upside-down cross. And that's my Unleashed story.
I think that's really stupid. I mean, I understand people have their religious dogmas and superstitions, and I get that, and I get why people get really offended at that. But at the same time, can't they? I'm sure she could see that at least you had some good effect, even though you said she didn't really like you at all. You had some good effect on her kid's life, and maybe, just maybe, you had found something that can, maybe help relieve some stress that the kid's having. I think that's really dumb and really unfortunate. Though maybe you made a metalhead. I don't know.
This is the same woman who, when we were playing, I think it was Monopoly, and I actually enforced the rules, she didn't want to play with me anymore. Mind you, this is the mother. The kids were all like, we've never really enjoyed this game until now because finally that makes sense. You're actually enforcing the rules. She was like, you're taking the fun out of the game. I don't want to play anymore. I'm like, maybe this is why your kid tries to punch you.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I'm just imagining your plans. You're like, all right, pay up. You landed on my Park Place and Boardwalk, and I have a hotel. She flips the table and goes, fuck you, Mr. Mark. And
then proceeds to curse me out in Spanish. Guttural Mexican Spanish. All right, speaking of guttural Mexican Spanish, here's first track number 1 from Unleashed, Dawn of the Nine. An allusion to the 9 rings of man, men who want nothing more than wealth and what is it? What do they say? the nine rings of man. They want nothing more than wealth and power.
I don't remember. I try to remember the beginning of Lord of the Rings, to the song Lord of the Rings by Blind Guardian, but I kind of get lost halfway through.
Well, I'm looking through the titles of these songs. We'll go through them as we do with every album. But, I mean, most of this has to do with Thor and Norse mythology. So I'm not entirely sure where Dawn of the Nine comes from, other than maybe the Nine Realms, but I'm pretty sure that was a Marvel invention. In any case, here's track number 1. This is A New Day Will Rise. Okay, so good start to the album, I thought.
Yeah, and by the way, I always love to read lyrics while we're playing things. The 9 is the 9 realms from Norse mythology.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't know if I said it during the show or not, but yeah, they do have lots of Tolkien elements in their lyrics. They're not as bad as a band like Summoning, which, Summoning, they're a black metal band who have, like, pure concept albums on Lord of the Rings. I wish I could be that cool. But, yeah, A New Day Will Rise. It's exactly about what you think. It's not quite the same, because now that I say that, I'm thinking, all I can imagine is, Bugs Bunny coming out of the hole when the classical music is playing. But, yeah, can you imagine Unleashed playing, I think, was that Morning Mist or something like that? That's pretty much the song that's always played when Bugs Bunny comes out of his hole.
What's up, Doc?
There you go. I did it for you. But yeah, this song...
I'd rather do it with the Rabbit of Seville.
The what?
How about the Rabbit of Seville? How about a nice clean shave? Teach your whiskers to behave. Lots of salad, lots of peace, and still don't be a dope.
Where is that from?
Nothing? You don't know the Rabbit of Seville?
I don't know the Rabbit of Seville. What's that from?
It's a cartoon.
No.
All right. Well,
no, I don't know about this. Okay, I'm going to go Google the Rabbit of Seville while you talk about this. All right, you go Google the Rabbit of
Seville. I'm going to go play the next track, okay? Just don't come back until you've heard Bugs Bunny say, how about a nice shave, behave, lots of salad, lots of salt, peace, and still don't be a dope.
Oh, okay, I remember this one. Yeah, I don't remember it. I've seen some of it.
I want to say it's either called the Rabbit of Seville or it's called That's Opera Doc, and it might be two different ones because I know there are two of them, because one of them is I'll get you with my spear and magic helmet, and I'm pretty sure that's Opera Doc. Oh, fuck this, whatever. The track 2, They Came
Rabbit
to Die.
Of Seville.
Where the blood is trying to last. Soldiers stay scattered round, system devastating sound.
2?
The Rabbit of Seville was that was the one where he was a barber. Yeah, you were thinking of Opera Doc, because that was the one where he had killed a wabbit.
Okay, no, but the one where he's shaving Elmer Fudd, that's the Rabbit of Seville.
Yeah, is that from the Rabbit of Seville? Okay. I've never seen that one. So when I get done with this, I'll totally watch the Rabbit of Seville. Either that, or I'll just have to watch it while we're talking. That'd be dumb. But anyways.
I think you should have it loaded up. You should put it on during each song.
That's true. But how will I give you spot-on lyrical analysis then? Too many hats, Mark. Too many hats. So, anyways, this song, it is exactly about what you think. Yeah, I was looking through the lyrics. I'm like, all right, let's see what we got here. They came to die. I'm like, all right. Okay. They came to die. That is the theme of the song. It's more or less a song about the people who are coming to invade our land, and they came to die, and they will die. America. Oh, wait, not America. Close enough. America. What do you think about this song, Mark?
I have to say, I was listening to the whole album last night while I was playing video games, and then I was listening to it in the car on my way to taking Jonas to Gymboree, and yeah, I listen to death metal in the car with my kids. What about it?
Your dad of the year.
So, I feel like, I mean, the album is, like, okay. I felt like it doesn't, until, like, you start getting to track, like, the first track that jumped out at me was Where Is Your God Now? And that's track 4. So I feel like, it's sort of a slow start in terms of this. I don't think the songs stand out, really. They're fine, but I think, if you threw a dart, you could hit, and songs that sound just like them. And maybe you could say that with the rest of the album, too, but I at least think that there were other songs on this that stand out more and were more interesting, while the first couple of tracks are more of the same from other bands of this ilk. Let's not say they're bad. It's hard to comment on something that I feel like I've heard over and over and over elsewhere.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of. I feel like almost we're getting more out of kind of side stories and slight lyrical analysis than anything looking at the musical content of it. Because when looking at the music of the first 2 songs, they're good, they're solid, they're nice headbangers to get you going. You could have as good background music while you're driving. But really, they don't. I don't feel like they give quite as much a grand experience to the songs like "Where's Your God Now" and the Son of Thor. Here's the Son of Thor's. A lot of the later songs. I almost feel like this album is really packed in the bag. It's one of those. It's kind of the opposite of a lot of the albums that we get where they kind of run out of steam in the middle and then kind of make a slight recovery towards the end, but it's really a front-loaded album. I feel like this one, they did manage to get everything stretched across, so it really helped carry along the fatigue of the listener. You don't really feel quite fatigued even though you've been listening to an entire album, because there's enough lull in between the really good songs to make you kind of remember, okay, well, here's where the good song is. Here's where the good song is. Instead of being like, oh.
It's very bell curvy. You kind of start off okay, and then it kind of rises, peaks, and then it's back down again. Where it's where I don't think everything's at least as good as the first 2 or 3 tracks, but nothing worse than them. But it does get better. So let's get to better. This is track 3. This is our first direct allusion to the Norse gods. This is Defenders of Midgard.
But we will rise again and fight to defend our stars to the very end. Fight to defend our stars to the very end. The time to heal and prepare for tomorrow. As we march with our minds black with sorrow, love, but we will rise again and fight to defend.
Okay, so I want to read this. This is from blabbermouth.net. They did a track-by-track breakdown of the songs. Defenders of Midgard. As time passed, the Midgard warriors prepared for life in this new situation, a time to heal and prepare for what is about to come. With the wisdom from their past and their current strength and determination, the time has come to rise and defend what is rightfully ours. The All Thing initiated a campaign to hunt down all that is left of White Christ rule in Svithvoid and to reinstate the hammer and the rule of Thor.
America.
Okay, sure.
I don't know. I feel like a yearning to say that because, while I was reading the lyrics to the song, I kind of realized, do you think if we replace Midgar with America and change this to a country song, we'd have a top 10 hit? I was just kind of thinking.
You'd at least get playing the Sean Hannity show.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, then again, it's all about timing. I think maybe we're past the America, fuck yeah, level of our patriotism. Now we're kind of back down to, maybe a level 3 of a Love America instead of a level 5. So we're about regular. America's okay. But yeah, this song is about exactly what you think. Just looking at it, it's very lyrically repetitious, which I know I bag on some bands for, but I feel like they supplement it well enough with good music to where I don't notice. Because it's about, fighting for Midgar, protecting it, rising back up as you fall, and just keep defending Midgar over and over. It's actually really inspirational when you think about it.
It felt more like a march. I feel like armies should be singing it while they're marching into battle. And that's kind of what it reminded me of. It reminded me of that epic battle metal type sound. A little slow for my taste. I like number 4 better. We're going to hear it now. This one I think is the jam. This is one of the best songs on the album. Where is Your God Now? Again from Blabbermouth. The battalions of the world now embark on a quest to hunt down White Christ. And it sounds like somebody in a basketball movie. White Christ. And to challenge him personally. Needless to say, Pass it to White Christ. He must face the atrocities he is responsible for. But just like any other coward, it seems that he has fled to higher ground. The Hammer battalions are ready, waiting eagerly. Where is your God now? Yeah, it definitely invokes the idea of like the peasantry being marauded and raped and pillaged, and the idea of, oh, where's your God to protect you? There is none. There is only us. Ah, Vikings kill.
Reading these lyrics, there's one, I'm going to sound like a real asshole, but I was kind of laughing. It says, behold the crucifix. What does it symbolize? Pallid incompetence hanging on a tree. That was like, damn. Fighting words. I've heard actually quite a few metal songs like that. A lot of them from Amon Amarth. I forget what it was, but I remember it was talking about how how all the people would go and run to the church because they think that nobody's gonna burn down a holy place. But then it talks about how the Vikings would burn that all down intentionally, and the ones that survived are the ones that were strong enough to be at least become slaves. I was like, that's a lot more brutal than you think, but I guess it really does kind of show how, sometimes one religion can look at another. And I guess the one religion, the Christians, we're thinking that the Vikings gave a shit about, religious freedom and rights, which they didn't. Think they were all about some dying in battle. That was kind of what their religion was based around. So I'm really wondering what White Christ is. I'm assuming, actually no, that would be really funny. I was about to say, is it Charlemagne? Since, technically that's what our interpretation of Jesus is based off of, and he's white.
I've spent enough time among successful black people to see, what the paintings of like Black Jesus look like, and if you talk to enough people who are into this sort of thing, the common perception painting of Jesus with the red hair and the beard, and the one that you find in every white church in America is actually based on another guy, and it was commissioned for that purpose. It was to basically rob the Jesus figure of his biblical identity, and to pitch it so that Anglican white people would look at the Jesus figure and see something that looked like let's face it, if you're trying to convert people to a religion, you're going to want to show them something that's familiar. And if you're talking about Caucasian people, you show them a black guy, or an Arab or whatever, they're not going to go for it. But if you show them a guy that looks like their neighbor, and he's the one saying do unto others and all that other stuff, then that you're going to be more successful in your sales pitch. So I get that, and I certainly understand the need to sort of talk about that and play with it in music, especially if you're a band like this one, which is clearly not into Christianity at all.
No, it's very it's kind of mocking in a way, and I mean I don't mind it. I live here in the old Bible Belt, so I kind of when I hear mocking of religion, I'm kind of just, it's going to sound bad. I'm like, it almost gets to feel refreshing in a sort of way, just because it's the opposite of what I hear all day. So it's it's a different viewpoint, and like what you were saying about White Christ, that actually reminded me of a conversation I had at work with a guy. I was talking about, I'm like, technically Jesus wasn't white. And he's like, his name was actually, I forget what it was, but it wasn't actually Jesus. It was something different, because actually the letters that we use, some of them were not actually created and didn't have the same sound at the time where he was born. And I had a lady pipe up and go, I'm a true believer. I'm not going to listen to this. The other guy just goes, we're not trying to insult you. That's just how it is.
You start pitching people like any kind of religious history that doesn't jive with sort of a literal interpretation of the Bible. It gets people all hot and bothered. I used to really be into telling people about the laughing Jesus, and then I got tired of trying to upset people, so I stopped talking about it. But the last thing Jesus talks about how there really was no historical Jesus, and that the whole Jesus story is a fable that has been told, pre-Christianity, has been told for ages. That that there's an Africanized version of it. That there's always some poor guy born of a virgin birth who comes from like the proletariat to become a preacher and a messiah and dies for everyone's sins and then comes back to life, promising those who follow him a better day, and it's more a matter of he who wins the war writes the history books kind of a thing, that the essentially the white Christian mythos has been carried forward and became the religion of half the world. But before all that, there had been versions of the story told throughout the ages, and you start telling that to people who are devout Christians, and it makes them uncomfortable. I mean, it made me uncomfortable, and I'm not devout anything. I'm a devout father, and this was before then. So yeah, the Laughing Jesus. If you ever have, the first half of the book that basically shoots holes in the whole Jesus mythology is interesting. The second half, which is about Gnosticism, that's Gonst, by the way, Gnosticism, gets a little redundant. It's a little preachy. It's a good book though. But I used to really be into this is kind of my wheelhouse. I used to be into a lot of Gnostic religious history, and there's this actually made the History Channel at one point, that they had found all of these like the Dead Sea Scrolls and all of these what you call them in the Bible, in the New Testament. Come on, you live in the Bible Belt. What do they call them? Gospels. That basically the Bible the New Testament was like a giant editing project among Catholic priests, and they it's like, we'll use this gospel, we're not going to use this one. And one of the ones that they found, and they made a book out of it, and the whole documentary was the Gospel of Judas, which I've read, the actual literal Gospel of Judas, and then the story of how they found the Gospel of Judas, and all that shit's interesting. But now go to somebody who's devout, right? Go to your Republican voting, Southern Baptist Republican person who goes to church every day and hates homosexuality and gay marriage and all that, and say to them, hey, have you ever heard of the Gospel of what was Christ's girlfriend's name? Mary Magdalene. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene, Gospel of Judas, and if you're not burned alive at the stake, consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'll have to look into that, because I remember I went into a museum and saw the Dead Sea Scrolls ones. They were old. That was about as far as I got with them. It's not like I could read them. I mean, it was really cool to be near something that important and significant and historically relevant. But really, they were old.
Like I said, I used to read a ton of Gnostic and religious history books. So if you need a reading list from me when the show's over, I can pitch you to some of the stuff I've read. It's interesting stuff. But like I said, it'll probably get you punched out at your local church fish fry. All right, speaking of fish fries, this is track 5, The Bolt Thrower.
Of the north wind, in the spirit of steel, death and stood the test of time. A master of war that feels no pain. His lawyers calling out his name. The bolt thrower. The bolt thrower. A master of war.
Okay, once again from Blabbermouth. The Midgard warriors and their elite forces, the Hammer battalions, or the Thor Corps if you're reading Marvel's Secret War, are being led by the new Avenger of Odalheim. Just like his father before him, he is known by many names. His warriors call him the Bolt Thrower. It's also the name of a band.
I love that band.
Okay.
So, okay. Oh no, I thought you were. I wasn't sure if you were done.
I am done.
I was just saying. Okay. Well, while we were listening to that wonderful song, that was about exactly what we thought it was. It was about Thor, actually. One cool thing that I decided to look at when I was looking at the lyrics, I said, I do not know what realm of the nine that the realm they were talking about was, which was Muspelheim. Muspelheim is actually the realm of fire, and it's the one that's ruled by Surtur. You know, the guy you remember from the Thor comics, or that one Amon Amarth album a few years ago. And actually, I Googled White Christ, and I was trying to figure out, okay, why do they call him White Christ? Apparently the reason why is not because he's white, because, of course, Christ would be Palestinian. The reason they call him White Christ is because the converts to Christianity in the Viking communities, they would be made to wear white robes.
Oh, okay. So it's not like White Mike?
No, or white power, or none of that. Yeah, none of that. No, it just became about kind of Christ is really represented by the white clothing that they had there. So that's what it was, because apparently they called Thor Red Thor, by what I'm reading here, because he had the red beard and everything, which is awesome. I wish I had something so cool as Red Thor. But yeah, this song, I thought it was really cool. I like it. It really, funny thing about some of these songs, I don't know about you, but I always get reminded of other metal songs. Like Where Is Your God Now reminds me of Hammer Down the Nails by Vital Remains. I don't know if you've heard that song, but it kind of starts out with the scream of Where Is Your God Now?
No, but I'm always reminded of the Deicide song, Once Upon the Cross. And that's a great one. That begins with someone yelling at, I'm pretty sure they got this from a movie, but something about, you know, God, why have you forsaken me? And they go into Once Upon the Cross.
Cool. Which, by the way, did you hear about Deicide? And because they and Entombed were doing the Metal Alliance tour. Well, Entombed got booted off for some reason.
Who got booted off? Who got booted off?
Yeah, well, when Entombed got booted through halfway, so...
Which band got booed? Which band got booed off?
Entombed.
Oh, Entombed.
It was Entombed.
Unless they're doing Wolverine Blues, I can see why.
Oh, I love Entombed. Even though it's new Entombed. So they're Entombed AD, but I heard they put on a killer show every night. But they got booted.
I said you're the only one that likes Entombed.
Well, I will carry that banner. Left Hand Path is one of the greatest albums ever released. But anyways, yeah, they got booted, and I guess, according to the Metal Alliance people who actually run the tour, they said there wasn't enough funding, so they dropped their name off the tour, and it became a Deicide tour. Which I was like, that's a real shame. That sucks. But the song before reminded me of Vital Remains, and this song here reminds me of Bolt Thrower. Because who doesn't love Bolt Thrower?
This one reminds me of, I want to say it was I think it was a Tiny Toons bit where they sang "Let the Anvils Ring," and there were just anvils falling out of the sky randomly. This is called "Let the Hammer Fly."
Over is the battle now. Feel the race down and down. Ever fight, ever flee. Shoot 'em dead, watch 'em bleed. All right, barriers. Rise across the sky. Let the hammer fly. Kill them all. Leave none alive. Kill them all. Let the hammer fly. And the sun is on the leaf. I pray that for the free. Falling down to the snow. The fight will not slow. Then just make it for a knee. The battle ends on the field. God is still not to be found. Give me the higher ground.
All right. Once again from Blabbermouth. As the battle rages and Christ is nowhere to be found, I'm beginning to see a theme here. No mercy is given to the women slayers of White Christ, or White Mike. Vengeance is taken for their deeds in the Battle of Uppsala Fields. There are people who probably really know how this is pronounced. It was like, oh, why are these idiots talking about this? Victorious and courageous, the Midgard warriors now move their forces further up north. So really, this whole album is fuck Christ, adopt paganism.
Have you hugged the Norsemen today?
What was that?
I said, have you hugged the Norsemen today?
You hugged a Norseman. That's funny.
That's definitely what I get from this album here. Oh, okay. So yeah, this song is, of course, about has like Odin and Tyr and Thor, and that's really awesome. Even though I didn't know Thor had a chariot. That's cool. Did you know Thor had a chariot? Wait a minute. Actually, now that I think about it, didn't Thor have a chariot on the cover of the Fever of the Gods by Amon Amarth?
Oh, he might have. I don't pay attention to that shit. It's not even real.
Well, you're supposed to make us sound like professionals. Jeez, Mark. Oh.
We've not sounded like a professional podcast since well before I passed down on the Typo Negative retrospective. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, that was still like the scariest thing. Mark, what? And that is actually, I think, the most listened to podcast on the network this year.
I'm sure that's because people just look. The rest of it sucks. Just listen to the guy fall asleep.
Yeah. Oh, there have been a few podcasts I fell asleep during the middle of it, and you really can't tell. Unless it's just a two-person podcast. I was on a source material with Jesse and what's his face from Screamy Boy, and I nodded off during that. Fucking Jesse was like, Mark, and I'm like, well, I agree. And I had to ask him, like, did I just nod off? And he was like, I don't know. Okay. Usually
all right,
if somebody asks, did I nod off? The answer is yes.
I have to ask. Yeah, sure. All right, this is track 7. This is Where Churches Once Burned.
Battle's over and we march again. There are shelters set on fire and burn like many times before. But churches must learn by our father's vengeance and can behold the rule of war. Behold the rule of war.
I like the breakdown there. I kind of cut it off in the middle, but still, you know, I thought they had an interesting little breakdown. One I didn't see coming with this because, you know, it's not like brotacular or anything, but you know, I thought it was nice. From Blabbermouth, the Midgard warriors now march across the northern lands to take back the land of our fathers, village by village, land by land. Churches are burned, and the hammer of Thor is reinstated.
Yeah, that's lyrically, that's very much what this is about, looking through it. It's pretty much just talking about where the churches were once burned, now reinstates the hammer of Thor, which I think sounds really cool. Not to mention, it sounds very political. So, yeah, yes, reinstate Thor, down with the white Christ.
Well, it's kind of obnoxious when you think about it, because it isn't like they're giving you... Well, think about it. What is this album saying? They're saying down with white Christ, right? They're saying down with Christianity. Right. And they're not giving you, like, an option of no God. They're just saying, you know, that's a shitty God. Here's a better one. Like,
I'm almost looking at it. I don't...
I would almost have more respect for the people who wrote this album if they were saying, down with your shitty God, except no God. You know, atheism is the way. But all they're doing is just replacing one religion with another. I'm not thinking too much about it.
Well, I was actually wondering if, a bug. I was wondering if perhaps this isn't the writers of the album, you know, the writers of the lyrics in the album, if this is exactly their beliefs, or if this is more just speaking in a historical sense in the mindset of a person living in that time. Maybe this is just telling a story of, you know, a battle in... I can't
imagine there isn't some degree of belief that... I mean, let's face it, death metal, whether it's traditional American death metal or European-style death metal, there's certainly a distaste for Christianity. We were just talking about Deicide not that long ago. You know, they've made their issues with the Christian faith quite apparent. You know, Cradle of Filth has T-shirts where there's demons raping nuns on it, for God's sakes. You know, I don't know how much more blunt. You know, are you getting the message here?
Yeah. Cradle of Filth. That shirt. This is Jesus as a cunt on the back. That's one of the shirts where I'm like, that's one of those shirts where I'm like, you know, that would be a great shirt to have for shock value, but it's really not worth it.
No, that's not a shirt you can throw on to go buy batteries at Walmart. Unless you're looking for a fist fight.
That is the shirt to be wearing at Walmart. You know, it could be like that. You see that video of those two white trash women fighting in Walmart? The one that was, like they were, it was from earlier this week. I think it was from Illinois or something like that. Or is it Indiana? I don't know. It started with an I. There was these two women fighting in the shampoo aisle, and one has the other one down on the ground and tells her kid, "Come on, Johnny, punch her in the face." This little 6-year-old kid grabs a bottle of shampoo and starts whacking the other woman in the head with it and starts stomping her. And then when the people watching is like, "Hey, little boy, you need to stop." He's like, "What are you going to do? You ain't going to stop me."
Nice.
Yeah, and I was watching that, and I was like, man, that kid needs an ass whooping. And then I thought, no, really, those parents need an ass whooping. Because that kid learned it from somewhere.
Well, I'm sure they'll get it when they go to their local county jail. Speaking of which, this next one is about Michigan. It's called Land of a Thousand Lakes. Blabbermouth.
That doesn't sound like us on Blabbermouth.
The quest continues across the Baltic Sea into the land of 1,000 lakes. It is time to rest and breathe and to reflect on our past, what lies ahead. It also is a time to hold a lot for our dead ones. Okay. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, that's about right. Darn, these track-by-track album looks really take out my, let's look at the lyrics. Take some of the wind out of those sails, doesn't it? But I thought this was a really good song. If I'm not mistaken, this is the one that had that really fucking killer solo. There are a few songs in here that have great solos, but I remember it was one of the last tracks where I was reading manga of ill repute. I was reading some of that, and I popped my head up, and I'm like, fuck yeah, it was great. And it was something really nice. And as for what this song reminds me of, have you ever heard the album, I think it's Land of 10,000 Lakes by Amorphous?
No, I've never even been to Michigan.
No, not Michigan, you silly goose. I'm talking about the band Amorphous.
No,
you're
not,
trolling. You're trolling, you asshole.
Just get on with your comment, please.
God, I knew I was gullible, but jeez. Spare me. I can easily read stupid headlines and believe them on my own. But yeah, this song reminds me of that album just by the title, because it has nothing to do with the album, because that album has really, really good keyboard parts. Really good. It's a great album. I totally suggest you go listen to it. Anybody listening that wants to listen to new metal, there you go. Well, not new metal, old metal from like 1994, when I was 3. What do you think of it, Mark? You and your damn Michigan references.
Sorry, you caught me while I was trying to clean. Like Hardy's everywhere. I mean, it's good. Like I said, this is where we get to the lower part of the bell curve for me. The Where Is Your God Now and a couple tracks that followed it, I thought were all really great, and I was rocking out in the car. Jonas was headbanging. Good time was had. But we're into the last 2 or 3 tracks here, and like I said, we're at that last part of the bell curve. So, speaking of which, here is the title track. Refers to the 9 realms, not the 9 rings or the 9 kings in the Lord of the Rings mythology. This is the 9 realms. This is Dawn of the Nine.
I am the light. Nature, my only guide. Defender of Midgard.
That song would have sounded better if it was sung by Christopher Lee.
Dude, that is a great idea. That would have been awesome. You would have done a great job with that. It makes me miss him even more. But yeah, I really like this song. I know it's not in your style. It's very slow. very, very doom-doom-doom-to-doom. Yeah, it's very doomy. When I was listening to him, like, I like this song. And I'm like, Mark's not going to like this song, is he? This is the man who couldn't survive the whole Black Sabbath album. He couldn't survive half the Black Sabbath album. He quit 4 songs in.
I tapped out. Couldn't do it.
You did. You're like, oh, okay. It's nice they're back together, but I quit. Yeah, this song's actually really neat. I feel like it almost gives me a Norse geography tour. Like most of the lyrics, if they're not talking about a defender of Midgard, sworn to the Nine, and Dawn of the Nine, it's telling you about each of the realms that whomever is speaking is defending. Talks about Jotunheim, Mannheim, Godheim, Vanaheim, Muspelheim, all those, Niflheim, Helheim, all those, all the different realms of Norse mythology. And I think that's really cool. Granted, they didn't really, they wanted to go all, like epic with it. They would have given us an entire verse, like, an entire stanza with each, describing each of them. But hey, this is death metal, not Mensa, so we got good with what we got. Oh, that's what I said about work. I said this is retail, not Mensa. So what did you think about this song besides you were incredibly bored?
I wish, I'm trying not to be negative. I have to keep up my my reputation as the happy one on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. Did you hear Robert Winfrey say that about me?
What did he say?
He described me. I mean, granted, he was comparing me to like the Casual Hero guys and the rest and everybody else on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, but he referred to me as the happy one. And I'm like, ooh, God. If I'm the happy one compared to the rest of you fucks, then I guess, wow. Then I'm sorry.
I don't know. I think that's Jesse. Jesse is always peppy about everything. He really is. Like, he is just fucking excited to be here, and he is happy, and he is ready to go.
Yeah,
I guess
always energetic. Yeah, like I said, like, if I'm the happy one, then he is just on ecstasy. I don't know.
See, because I know I'm still fun time. That's me. I know I'm still fun time.
Right.
Yeah, I'm still fun time Robert Cooper. I still don't know if that was bestowed to me in irony or not. Oh, it's like we discussed, actually. What did I listen to? I listened to our first covers podcast. It was just me and you talking. You're like, you always destroy my jokes. I'm like, well, remember, Mark, I'm a bad lawnmower. I start really shy, and then by the end of it, I'm goofier than you.
Oh, my God. So, speaking of lawnmowers, I just got a battery-operated lawnmower. It's the greatest thing God ever invented. No plugs, no wires, no gasoline. I just charge it on a regular electric outlet, and I unplug it, put the key in, and off I go. It's just the greatest thing ever. And these are the kinds of things that are exciting when you're 39 years old.
I didn't even know they made electric fucking lawnmowers. And I work at a hardware store. I'm a piece of shit. Anybody else that works at a hardware store, let me know if your store sells fucking electric lawnmowers. Because, jeez, I've never seen one at mine. I feel left out.
Oh, yeah, man.
I do is lift up bolts for the elderly.
A gasoline-powered one fucking died on me a second time after I got it fixed for like $60. Basically, I was not putting in the right gasoline was what happened. Apparently, you're not supposed to put in gasoline with ethanol in it because it clogs up your carburetor. This is what the lawnmower man told me, and I stupidly
from the movie.
Yeah, in the computer told me, you can't really put ethanol, like the standard kind of fuel that you put in your car, in the lawnmower because you're going to gunk up the carburetor, and that's why it stopped working. Well, I figured, okay, well, he just fixed it. He just fixed the carburetor, cleaned it out, and everything. So maybe I'll just use up the gasoline that I already had left. And the fucking thing died on me, and I'm like, that's it. I threw it in the street. Some woman was like, what are you doing with that lawnmower? I'm like, just fucking take it. That's what I'm doing with it. And for my birthday, I bought myself a couple of T-shirts and a new lawnmower. And I got one that's battery operated because everything on batteries is awesome. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're parked.
I was going to say, everything is cool when it runs on batteries.
Everything is awesome when it runs on batteries.
Everything is awesome when it doesn't use gas. Yeah. So are you saying you're going to get a battery-operated car, Mark Radulich?
I have one. I drive a Prius.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. When the brakes on my Toyota finally went, I had a Toyota Corolla. I traded it in and I bought a Prius. This is when I was still driving 50 miles to work one way.
Damn, son. Oh, well, hey, that's cool.
All right, so we got one more. Sorry, I'm planning future podcasts here. We got one more song left. Let's get through this, and then we can talk about what we're doing next. This is probably what, the album definitely ends on a high note. This is Welcome, Son of Thor.
Return to the shores of our homeland. Skies blue and open wings and the sun is so grand. He has returned. He has returned. Welcome the son of Thor. He waves his sword. Welcome the son of Thor. He waves his sword. Warriors standing proud, raise this killing hail.
That song is badass. All right, overall, I like the album. It's a fun listen. I don't get caught up in, the religion, anti-religion thing. I mean, it is what it is. Guys believe what they believe. Certainly an interesting perspective. It's a nice little fantasy trip, especially if you're into Norse mythology. Overall, if you're into death metal, if you're into European-style death metal, it's a good pickup. It's on Spotify. If you pay you $10 a month, you can download it, listen to it whenever you want. Certainly worth the $10 a month. Robert?
I would definitely say this was a really good release by Unleashed. As we said, I don't think it's as good as the last one, Little Heim. That was a really good album that had some real strong standout tracks and a very nice consistency that I feel like was a little more than this album here. This song definitely had some really nice peaks, but the base value is kind of just, it was good. It wasn't great. So, I'd give this album probably a solid, maybe 8 out of 10. Yeah, it's just a good 8 out of 10, 4 stars. There's nothing in it that's bad. It's definitely well worth 50 minutes of your time. And it's on, as he said, it's on Spotify. I fully recommend checking them out. Check out their discography while you're at it. Maybe even bands like Amon Amarth and Dismember. There would be some pretty good picks for you if you do so like this. So what you got, Mark?
Okay, that's really it. No, we don't have anything picked out. Our next podcast, I'm sticking with, even though I realized that it was a Deep Purple's covers album, the new Whitesnake, because it's still awesome. And I, at the very least, want to listen to it and yeah, I mean, what am I going to? Like, I don't think a commentary on Deep Purple covers is really what's called for. Just sort of a reaction to it, basically. And anything just to make you listen to Whitesnake. But after that, we've got shows. Now, going into the future here, on August 6th, we're going to be reviewing the new Lamb of God that comes out July 24th. But in between, we've got shows on July 9th and July 23rd. And here's what's coming out between now and then. We've got some stuff that's already out going back to May that we didn't get to. 6 Feet Under, Camelot, Coal Chamber, Halloween, moving into June, Armored Saint, Gogoris, Virgin Steel, Breaking Benjamin, High on Fire, August Burns Red, Jungle Rot, and Between the Buried and Me are some of the albums that are going to be out between now and our next show. Between now and the 23rd, there's Cradle of, not the 23rd, between now and August 6th, no, I'm right, the 23rd, is a new Cradle of Filth, and then that's it according to Wikipedia. So, I definitely think we should do the new Cradle of Filth.
I'd be good for that one. Unfortunately,
okay,
it's kind of annoying me. One, we don't have a... All
right, hang on. I'm scheduling Cradle of Filth, which comes out July 10th for July 23rd.
Okay.
Everyone wants to know what a Radulich and Broadcasting meeting sounds like. All right, so that you get to pick one. All right, you get to pick the next, the one after Whitesnake, which is the July 9th one.
I'll probably wait until after the Whitesnake ones, and maybe we can see some more releases. Because, damn, looking at the so far what we got coming up for the summer, there ain't shit. I mean, in terms of like business,
month June, you don't want to do like High on Fire or August Burns Red or Virgin Steel or Gorgoroth. I think one of those might be up your alley.
Well, I mean, yeah, Gorgoroth, High on Fire. I was just kind of thinking in terms of like big releases. I mean, you remember what was it, 2013, where we had, what was it? We had Children of Bodom, Black Sabbath, Orphan Land, Amon Amarth. Like we had, like every week was a huge album. That's what I was saying. Maybe I'll wait until after
nothing good coming out until like August. Dude, August is. So first of all, August is going to have like every release that I want to do for the rest of the year. Not including Cattle Decapitation, which is up there. But there's a new Fear Factory, Bullet for My Valentine, Stradivarius, Soulfly, Battlecross, Butcher Babies, Ghost, The Sword, Hate Eternal.
Nile.
Five Fingered Death Punch, which, that's on the list. No, that's on the list.
Dude, September. There you go. Slayer, Annihilator, Black Dahlia Murder, and then the first week in October is Children of Bodom. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna hit overdrive going into the fall. So if you don't, like I said, if you don't want to pick something, I'll pick another one.
Well, I can pick it. I mean, like I said, maybe look at. You could probably do. I don't know. I'll give it a few options. Cause I was thinking, Gorgoroth sounds nice. I know I mentioned Civil War again. I don't know when that came out. I think that came out in May, but and we do have High on Fire.
Let's do something. You want to do High on Fire?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, hang on one second, because now I'm. Okay. We're actually going to go 2 weeks in a row. We're going to go on the 16th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's the way that I had the podcast schedule because of Terminator. So we're a little off. Because you know what it is? we didn't do the Jack Ryan podcast like I thought we were going to last week. We're doing it next week. So part one of, hey, plugs. So part one of the Jack Ryan series on the Long Road to Ruin is the 18th. The following week, June 25th, is White Snake, the Purple album, which is the Deep Purple's covers. July 2nd is part 2 of the Jack Ryan series. And now July 9th, to coincide with Terminator Week. Okay, so we're doing 2 weeks in a row of Long Road to Ruin. That's what it comes down to. And it just didn't work out that way. So July 9th is Terminator Week. We'll be doing the Terminator trilogy on July 9th for the Long Road to Ruin. And then there will be 2 weeks in a row of Metal Hammer of Doom. We'll do High on Fire on July 16th, and then Cradle of Filth on July 23rd. And then we'll be back to our regularly scheduled every other week deal. July 30th, there'll be something on Long Road to Ruin, probably Darkman. No. Oops. Yeah, we'll be doing Darkman, which I now have to move. Okay. It's all very interesting, I'm sure, for people.
Oh, yeah, I love hearing the beeps and boops, personally.
Okay, so here's our schedule. July 2nd, Jack Ryan Part 2. July 9th, Terminator Trilogy. July 16th, Metal Hammer of Doom, High on Fire. Lumineris, I believe is the name. Luminiferous is the name of the album. On the 23rd, Cradle of Filth, Hammer of the Witches. And then July 30th is Long Road to Ruin, the Darkman Trilogy. And then on July 6th is the new Lamb of God. Sorry, August 6th. Jesus. August 6th is the new Lamb of God.
All right, sounds like a plan. I like it.
All right.
The plan comes together. Though I hope Limp Bizkit doesn't come out anytime this fall, because we got too many albums.
Let me see. Limp Bizkit. Da-da-da-da. Limp Bizkit. Oh, Limp Bizkit, where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio?
Where have you gone, old Fred Durst, D.O., you douchey ass who has a backwards hat? Fuck your ass.
Well, it's still saying 2015.
Right.
Release and promotion. Do we have a date yet? Nope.
Release and promotion, N.A.
Yeah. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. It says Stampede of the Disco Elephants, 2015, and that's all it says.
Oh, well.
Damn,
I'm just proud of what I can do in Fred Durst there.
All right. That's it for plugs for me. I think I've taken up enough time trying to plan the podcast while doing a podcast. What do you got going on?
Really, the old Sentai Hentai Frentai Happy Go Fun Time Japanese podcast. I want to do something this summer. Just got to watch things in order to do it. Which means I got to actually, take time to watch things when I'm off, which is never. Oh, well, we'll see. Push comes to shove, maybe I can just, me and Hunter could sit down and do a podcast about my time of lifting up mulch for the elderly for 4 months. I mean, hey, I just had, I've had like an hour of work conversation tonight with a very fine young lady, so that'll be fun.
Have you been doing the cooperative multiplayer podcast?
Yeah, actually, I was getting to that. Co-op multi. Myself, Sean Garmer, Mark Morrison. I was on there last Tuesday for the first time in months. I'm not quite sure what our schedule is at the moment on when we go on, but I think next week they're going to be doing a Sunday night, Monday night, Monday afternoon, and a Tuesday night and afternoon podcast for each E3 press conference. So you can find that on Spreaker.com / I think Wrestling to the Max, I think is the page it's under. But yeah, it's a pretty nice podcast. The last one I got to talk a lot. So if you love my voice, you need to go listen to it. And there you go. That's the way the cookie crumbles. That's the plugs.
All right. I will be releasing a schedule because I know it's kind of all over the place, but I will be releasing a schedule of upcoming Thursday night podcasts in the very near future. Also, as I said before, tonight was the day, or rather Friday, late Thursday or early Friday, Netflix released season 3 of Orange is the New Black, which means that this Tuesday, Sean Comer and I will be reviewing the first 3 episodes of Orange is the New Black. Wednesday, Robert Winfrey and I will be reviewing the new Jurassic Park. And then Thursday is the first part of our delayed Jack Ryan series on the Long Road to Ruin. You can also check out the last 2 out of 3 Casual Heroes podcasts on thecasualheroes.com that are up. We recorded another one this past Tuesday. We're in the middle of it. I stopped caring whether or not I was even on the show anymore. And apparently Gavin thought it was the greatest show we've ever done. So there you have it, folks. When I don't give a hoot, when I don't give a shit, apparently, that's when the magic happens. I don't know. I live in opposite world.
When you're like, fuck this company.
Yeah, pretty much. So with that said, the women from Litchfield are calling me. So for Robert Cooper, this has been the Metal Hammer of Doom. I am your mandated reporter, Mr. Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.